Am I the asshole for saying my mom doesn't care about me and embarrassing her in public? Just for some context, I am 17, have had long hair for about a year now and I love it. I've never felt as confident and good looking as I do with long hair than when I used to have shorter hair. A few weeks ago I decided that I wanted to experiment more with my hair. Because why not? So I dyed some parts of it blue and I love it. I literally haven't felt this good about myself in so long. Anyway, my mom hates it of course since she's pretty traditional and thinks I look like a girl. Since then she's been constantly hinting at getting my hair cut and I just laugh or ignore it. Graduation day is coming up very soon though, so today she tried to force me to get my hair cut, and a lot shorter than what I wanted. Would have preferred no haircut at all to be honest, but I tried to meet her in the middle. The entire day I was basically begging her to not make me cut my hair and then she'd either say she didn't care, or say that my hair was ugly, disgusting, weird, etc. Now I'm the type of person to literally not care at all about what other people think of me, but it's a little different when it comes from your own mother. At this point, I was more mad about the fact that I'm turning 18 in less than a month and she still thinks she can control every aspect about myself. I get it, her house her rules, but come on, it's just hair, and I'd much rather not destroy my confidence for one graduation day and then have to wait for it to regrow after months. Eventually we got to the salon and I almost broke down on the spot, but I managed to hold it in. After me and my mom constantly going back and forth about getting it cut, I just straight up told her that it seems like she doesn't care about me if she really thinks my hair and how other people, literal strangers that walk past me on the street, think of me is more important than my self-esteem and happiness. She got really mad after we said this, but I did end up getting to leave without a haircut cause of it. Cheeky smiley face. It just kind of hurts because I feel like she never allows me to express myself because she's worried about what other people might think of me, and she can't comprehend the fact that I literally do not care about anyone's opinions but my own. She's done this with my clothes too, and threatened to throw out my entire closet because I wanted to wear an oversized t-shirt to school one day. Later that day, she came into my room and said that I really hurt her when I said she didn't care about me enough, and that I embarrassed her in front of everybody. I guess I probably could have worded it better, but it's not like she was considering my feelings either when she decided to call my hair ugly, disgusting, etc. literally like 10 times, and point out every reason why she thinks it's ugly. Honestly though I do feel really guilty for it, but at the same time I feel like it needed to be said eventually. Am I the asshole? Edit. Thanks for all the comments. I was genuinely feeling bad over it, but I don't feel guilty anymore at all. I guess I never realized how abnormal and manipulative this type of behavior is because she's always been like this. The more I think about it, the more situations I think of where she has been manipulative. Less than 3. Not the asshole. It sounds like you've been very clear on how you want to wear your hair and she hasn't respected that boundary. She pushed and pushed and it's not surprising that you finally snapped. Not the asshole, you pointed out to her she doesn't take you into consideration and she still makes it about her as she's embarrassed you called her out on it. I feel for you. I wish I had better advice but I just don't know how to deal with her. FY I love the fact you love your hair. I have pink hair ATM. Might have to do blue again next. Not the asshole. I'm female and I've preferred short hair most of my life. My mom hates it but she never even told me as a teen because it was so clear I loved it. Not the asshole. Sounds like it needed to be said. Move out soon, though. Especially considering the bit about your wardrobe, your mom is way over-controlling. Your mental health will do better in a different situation. Not the asshole. Truth hurts peaches. She was more concerned with how it made her look or how people thought of her than it made you feel. What she didn't like was being called on it. This sounds abusive. She did something, or almost did, that hurt you deeply, and then decided to talk about how it hurt her that you were hurt. Quick way to not have a relationship with your soon-to-be adult child. Not the asshole. I usually reserve the word abusive, especially with what you describe as repeat behavior. It seems like your reaction is not only about the hair incident but about all the incidents where she behaves like this. Not the asshole. Jesus had long hair. Jesus is my role model. I will not have anyone tell me I shouldn't aspire to be like Christ. She's worried about what other people might think of me. You're the only one who's given me a hard time about it. Hey, I'm female. I never felt like I had full control over my hair because my mom always talked me out of cutting it short. I just want you to know that what matters is what you love. Your mom is being manipulative and a little emotionally abusive. I really hope that when you go off to college, you get the chance to distance yourself from her. Much love and hugs. Am I the asshole for telling my friend her new job is likely scamming her? My friend and I have been friends and occasionally romantically involved, in that lesbian way, for a decade. She has had trouble getting a new job considering how she left her old one, extreme mental health issues, and the block of where she was unemployed and getting no education afterwards, getting help and intense therapy. Now she's just gotten her degree and a new job right out of college. I really couldn't be more proud. I was busy last week but realized her first day was the middle of it, so I called her up today and asked her all about it. At first it all sounded normal, like how I reacted with my new job last year right out of college. A bit overwhelming, shy, out of place, excited. Then she said, plus my manager states that tomorrow might be the 12-hour shift. And I was confused, so I said I thought she had a normal 5-day 8-hour workweek, and she said she does, but about 3-7 times a month, usually once a week. The job will make their office work a 12-hour shift, adding 4 hours onto their workweek. I got a little suspicious and stated the office must be pulling bank for that with overtime pay. She said no, it's unpaid and expected. It's just part of the job. Every job has a few rough days every month. I told her that she can't let that happen. What they're doing and could do to her soon is steal from her. She argued that she gets paid salary, which I DK what that means, but I'm pretty sure I get paid that way too because my job despises overtime. I told her no, from what I know salary pay means what you get paid for working 40-hour weeks throughout the year. If they make her work 4 extra hours 3 times a month at the least, then that's 144 hours of pay they are screwing out of one person, let alone her entire branch. She then snapped at me and said I wouldn't understand cause got lucky with a good, easy job that's basically not a real one since it's remote. That really stung, so I just said she must be a bit tired and I ended the phone call. I do work from home, but I work really hard so I can get the mentioned 2 raises in the next year or so that the well-performing employees get. I did go a bit harsh on her, and looking back I could totally see that the way I said it came off as babying and talking down to her. I looked up her place of work and it's a huge company, international with tens of thousands of workers. No issues pop up in Google with them. So maybe I just made an argument out of nothing and made her feel stupid. Am I the asshole? Edit. Significant other. Sorry, I forgot to mention this isn't the only thing that rose my suspicions about the company. If it was I still would have, though it was strange, but would have waited to mention something. The other things. She does not have the degree level that they usually hire. But they are going to help her pay for a higher degree, which is great. But she stated in our conversation that she met a lot of her coworkers in passing. She's very charismatic, and absolutely none of them have as low of a degree as her. Not even the new hires. She has mentioned that part of her job requires that she look into starting her graduate education really soon and have it by 2 years. I don't know what happens if she doesn't, but it really worried me because that means she'll have to take full-time classes along with a full-time job that is only being paid for upon completion. Which makes sense on a logical, business scale to not pay for the percentage agreed until after it's certain it's going to work out. But what if something happens? What if she gets herself into debt and puts her mental health back on the line and they fire her? Or she has to quit and she's left with an incomplete degree she can't pay for? You are the asshole, but also ill-informed. Salary jobs are meant to be worked overtime and workers that take salary understand that. A lot of people decline salary pay because they'd rather not work the overtime without the extra pay, but generally salary pay is higher than the regular pay period. It isn't technically a scam. Apologize. Edit. Salary is a fixed monthly pay. If she's an exempt employee, or salaried, which it sounds like she is, then it doesn't matter how many hours a week she works. She'll make the same amount of money, and it's perfectly legal. As long as they were upfront with her when she interviewed for the position, that's her call. This falls under the category of stuff that's none of your business. Mild. You are the asshole. Some places do have mandatory overtime, which is unfortunately legal. Mild. You are the asshole because you didn't do your research before having a potentially condescending conversation. Apologize and move on. No assholes here, but yeah. A lot of times if you are salaried you are also considered an exempt employee, meaning you are exempt from receiving overtime pay. Next time, realize that if it's her job, she may know more than you about how the pay situation works, and listen to her, don't argue. You are the asshole. Good intentions, but if she is classified as an exempt employee in the US, you can be asked to work more than 40 hours a week and you are not required to be paid overtime. A lot of the time, salaried employees are considered exempt depending on their role. Nah. In the US, exempt employees are not paid overtime. It sounds like she is one. You are likely wrong on the law. Now some employers abuse the exempt designation. That's a concern, but a longer day for an exempt employee sometimes isn't theft or a scam. I guess she could be a mild asshole for snapping at you, but I think it's only human to get annoyed when someone is very confident about your personal situation but are potentially wrong. She may be considered a salaried exempt employee, which exempts a company from requiring to pay overtime. A lot of salaried employees will work in excess of the 40 hours a week because there is work that needs to be done. I would say that there are some places where it is not a requirement to work additional time but might be expected based on need. Hopefully the company will compensate with bonuses or raises over the course of employment. Not the asshole looking out for your friend is good. Work hours and salary, yearly or hourly, should be detailed in the offer letter she received. Salary doesn't mean 40 hours though, it's usually a distinguishing factor categorizing an employee as exempt, usually salaried, or non-exempt, usually hourly, from FLSA. Non-exempt hourly employees must receive OT for hours over 40. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my best friend make up for what she did? My F24 best friend, Alice F24, came down over the weekend to stay at mine for a few weeks. She was meant to come down some weeks back but did not want to leave her ex's house. They'd been broken up for over 7 months, been fighting a lot, and it had been a toxic dynamic where she was asking for more and he was constantly saying she was not enough, cheating and trying to change her while she constantly put him above everything. She kept postponing coming down in order to try to make it work with him, until this weekend when he pestered her to leave and drove with her to drop her off at mine. Giving this context because I understand her attachment to this ex-boyfriend. Since she came down on Saturday evening, I've been trying to cheer her up, going on walks to explore my city, trying out food trucks, making cocktails, morning yoga, and just generally trying to get her to see life outside of her ex. Yesterday morning after our workout at a park nearby, I mentioned there was smoked salmon in my freezer and I was thinking of making a breakfast sandwich. I love to cook for friends and I know Alice loves my food. She mentioned she's craving pancakes with the salmon and we banter about it and conclude that I'll be experimenting with a savory pancake dish. We walked to a grocery store nearby and picked up the ingredients I'd need. While I'm cooking, Alice is catching up with friends on the phone and a friend who is in town mentioned he'd be stopping by soon to see her. She mentions I'm cooking at the moment for lunch and they make plans to go for a walk by my house later to talk. I make 2 versions of the dish, in case the experimental one doesn't taste great, and so we have a lot, 'cause I know she'd said she's hungry. She mentions she wants to say hi to her ex and goes out to the balcony to make the call. I go outside to let her know when the food is ready and plated, all excited, and wait for her to eat. Some time goes by and she's still on the phone with the ex, so I eat my food. After a while, she comes in hurriedly and says she's going out, as her friend is here, grabs 1 piece of pancake and leaves. She texts me a few minutes later saying she's sorry. I had said, "That's annoying," when she said she was leaving. She gets back home later and says sorry. I say I've heard her. She then goes on listing all the ways she wants to make it up, saying she'll get me ice cream, tacos, we can exercise tomorrow, etc. I tell her she can't make up for today, except she can turn back time, and the actions she's suggesting cannot make up for not valuing my efforts. She then starts blaming her ex for taking up time. This is not new, and says I know she had to talk to her other friend about a serious issue. I tell her I understand all of this, but it does not take away from me feeling the way I do. I woke up this morning feeling like the asshole because I know I could have told her it's fine and allow her make up for it. But I had been so used to her dropping everything for this man without considering anything else, that I did not want to relieve her guilt, and I was still hurt. Am I the asshole? Edited. Added more detail. Alice definitely seems like she was being pretty insensitive, but I don't think that's a reason to hold a grudge. She's clearly going through something with her ex. Just try to enjoy the rest of your time together. You're grown women. She didn't appreciate that you cooked for her, but it's not like you pulled the moon out of the sky. It's just food. And of course she can make up for yesterday, that is what an apology is. She's staying with you for weeks and you're mad that she made plans to see another friend that was temporarily in town as well? Yes, she was inconsiderate for running out the door after her call with the ex took the time you thought you would get to enjoy breakfast with her, but you sound really petty over this. Are you going to be offended every time she makes plans with other people and not just give you her undivided attention for the weeks that she will be staying there? She is trying to make it up to you and you're being an asshole back to her. If you two are best friends, you certainly don't act like it. Everyone sucks here. Yes, your friend was an ass for just leaving like she did, but it sounds like to me she really is sorry. How are you supposed to have a friendship where you turn down any effort of your friend saying sorry? She left early, she didn't kill your whole family and shit on their grave. You're just being petty at this point. You're not the asshole, but life is too short to hold a grudge. Enjoy her this visit, and if this behavior becomes a pattern, start hanging out with other people. Everyone makes mistakes. Question: is this her pattern? Does she bail on you for toxic situations? Not the asshole, she did a shitty thing and definitely deserved some guilt from it, and you shouldn't have just let it go immediately with an apology. That said, I do think if you hold on to this for much longer, you stray into asshole territory. Info: what are you expecting from this? It kind of sounds like you're punishing her. Am I the asshole for uninviting my friend from my engagement party after she made a rude comment about my ring? I, 27F, got engaged around a month ago to my lovely boyfriend, 28M, of 6 years. My fiancé works in the tech industry and makes a very good amount. For our engagement, my fiancé ended up picking probably the most perfect ring for me. It was very expensive, however, and he refused to tell me the exact price and just said it was upwards of $40,000. We plan on holding an engagement party with our closest friends at a lake house next weekend. I've already sent out the invites to my inner circle and all of them have RSVP'd saying they could make it, including the friend in question, Amy. Amy and I met at my work and have been close friends for about 4 years. However, she is definitely my most complicated friendship. Amy, 25F, is a young single mom and has struggled financially. Throughout the years, I have offered a lot of financial support to her, such as paying for her meals and trips, paying for her daughter's school trips and gifts, purchasing home goods for them, etc. Last weekend, Amy and I went to brunch and she asked to see my ring. She immediately asked me how much he paid for it and I refused to tell her the amount, just stating that it was probably pretty expensive. Then she said, "It looks like it's at least $50,000. Don't you think it's kind of shitty to spend that much on a ring when even a fifth of that money could have pulled a family out of poverty?" I was frankly shocked when she made that comment. I'm a firm believer that you should never tell someone how to spend their money, especially if they're a close friend who's trying to share a happy moment with you. I tried lightening up the situation, but then she pushed further and said, "But seriously though, he could have donated half of that to a nice charity and probably saved many lives." Wow, rich people really surprise me sometimes. After reflecting on the situation, I decided I was not comfortable with Amy coming to the engagement party anymore. It takes me a while to get over rude comments like hers, and I just did not want any tension, unresolved anger at our celebration. I shot her a text explaining how her comments were upsetting to me and how her words were not only demeaning, but disrespectful. As a result, I told her I would no longer feel comfortable with her attending my engagement party. I told her I hope we can talk through this issue more, but that my decision regarding the party was final. She responded shortly after apologizing for the comment and said how she didn't know it would affect me that much. She promised she'd be better about it and asked me to reconsider the party because she's already bought an outfit and hired a babysitter, and was looking forward to celebrating with me. She also added that if I was going to uninvite her from the party over such a small thing, she'd misjudged my character. I'll admit, I can be a pushover sometimes. I did immediately feel bad after her message. I talked with my fiancé about this and he supported my decision fully, but I can't help but feel like I was too harsh. Was I the asshole here after all? Not the asshole. She bought an outfit just for a party? Doesn't she know she could have donated that money to a homeless person and bought them food for a week? I can write a lecture about everything wrong with the wedding industry, but there are places I wouldn't bring it up. To a friend who just got their engagement ring is probably not a place to discuss the moralities of how much it cost. Even if Amy had a point, she was incredibly tactless about it. I don't think you would be wrong regardless if you gave her another chance or stick to uninviting her because it's your engagement party. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, she was the asshole. That sounds like narcissistic abuse to me. People who shit on other folks' good fortune are usually just jealous and angry they don't have what you have. I'd be wary of her being my friend too. No one needs friends that aren't supportive and can't keep their judgy shit to themselves. Not the asshole. Just because her comment may have truth in it doesn't mean it's right to say that to you. Unless you both have discussed the cost of rings and how much people spend on them before. She shouldn't have said that to you, especially because she doesn't know how much the ring cost. She apologized, but you don't have to accept it. I think you misjudged her character. She's using you to pay for what she can't, and has just decided to slice open her golden goose. Not the asshole at all. Best be rid of her entirely. You are way too nice. Everyone sucks here because your friend was rude, but she's also right. I'm petty enough to consider telling her my decision stands and asking her which charity she'd like me to donate the cost of her food and drinks to. I get her perspective, but 1. The decision was already made. 2. It's not her business. 3. If you want to fuss at someone, try the bloated wallet that $40K disappeared into. 4. It's not her business. Not the asshole. I want to see your ring.